Been strong on the Bombers' credible flag chances for some time this year. And their coach, James Hird, joins us tonight. And I'm sure he's pretty buoyed by the fact that his club has responded in what was a very difficult week. Welcome to you, James.
Thanks, Jared.
It was a difficult week. Can you take us through it? Because clearly with the, the resignation of Ian Robson, it was going to be tough off the field. Your interviews still going ahead, and yet you were led magnificently by your skipper, and it was one of your better wins, I reckon, as coach of that footy club.
Yeah, look, the performance on Saturday night was terrific by the players. I don't think it was the prettiest game of football anyone's been to. The occasion was certainly huge with the Dreamtime and the G game, but the way our guys defended and defended the whole ground, I think, was exceptional, particularly, as you said, after a tough week with everything that had happened over the week. But, the celebration of Dreamtime and the G and a win by the Bombers was excellent.
Can I just ask you about your half-back line? It seems to me if you're going to build a footy club, we were talking about the Demons just prior to you coming on, and clearly if they were going to try and rebuild, they'd be focusing on these rebounding, intercept marking type footballers, and you've got two in absolutely magnificent form. One's only been around Hibbert for a couple of years. He is playing outstanding footy.
Yeah, Michael Hibbert's a terrific story, a kid that's come out of Frankston, didn't get onto an AFL list after through the under-18 system, wasn't picked up, and spent a couple of years, 2 or 3 years at Frankston before Adrian Dodoro noticed him running around for Frankston. We picked him up in the pre-season pick of the pre-season draft of at the end of 2010, and he came onto our list 2011, 12, and this is his third year, 2013, and really developed as a player, tough, hard, a bit of old-style footy about him, but wants to learn and trains very hard, and he's given us terrific flexibility off the half-back line. As you said, to have a rebounding half-back line which can beat its opponents but also use the ball well, does enable you to attack off that half-back line.
How do you explain the previous week, the loss to Brisbane? I watched it the whole game and thinking that the script was writ, that you'd find a way to win. You didn't. You blamed training, you blamed probably attitude, maybe distractions, but they were all those distractions are all there again prior to this weekend, and yet it was a completely different result.
Yeah, look, I do go back to training. Our boys have trained very well since pre-season started in sort of early November last year, and really had a very professional approach. And we felt that for the 10 days before that Brisbane game, our training had dropped off, and it certainly carried into the game. And we've been very big as a coaching group on train the way you want to play. And it came out, and look, that could be a number of reasons. It could have been the distractions. It could have been were boys were a bit tired after a really big game against Geelong, and maybe there's no coincidence that Geelong lost their first game after playing that game on the Friday night at Etihad, which was a really big game. And it's also taking away from Brisbane. Brisbane put pressure on us, excellent pressure on us. Their tackling was better than us. The contest was better than us, and they attacked our players. So probably more credit should go to them than was disappointing for us.
84,500 people there again, James, on Saturday night. A lot of people wanting to watch your club in very, very big numbers this year and in previous years, of course. But when you saw Richmond's tactics in possessing the ball at half-back and not wanting to kick it to contests, etc., you would have come in at quarter time. And what would you have said to your players about the way that Richmond were playing you?
It was a bit more about us at quarter time, but we certainly were able to hold Richmond's ball movement up, and sometimes it's about us and sometimes it's about them, and it's hard to say. But I thought the way our guys found their men and defended the ground was excellent on Saturday night, and perhaps the best we've done it in the time we've been coaching them. And really, our view of Richmond is they're a very damaging team with the ball in hand. They like to get their forwards up the ground and get you out over the back, and they kick a lot of goals that way. And I think that in that first quarter we started to see us slow them down a bit with the ball, which was positive for us, and we just talked to our guys when Richmond had the ball, continue to slow them down and try and win it back, and fortunately we were able to do that.
Dustin Fletcher last Saturday heard he became the first player ever in the history of the game in the same week he attended a 20-year premiership reunion to also still be playing. This guy is amazing.
Yeah, he's a freak, Fletch. He's in a lot of ways, but just his his natural athletic ability and football ability is outstanding, and you actually see it in his two boys as well. They're naturally gifted athletes, naturally gifted with a ball in their hand, and that certainly has held Fletch in good stead. I often say to him that the reason that he's playing so well at this stage of his career is he didn't train properly as a junior. You never see him out in the track when I was playing, but he seems to love training now and is the first there and the last to leave.
Hurley looks gone for a couple of weeks for you at least, Hurdy. Joe Danaher, does that mean he will automatically get a look, or will you stick with Gumbleton?
We'll have a look. I mean, Scott was probably best on ground on the weekend, Scott Gumbleton, and Joe was probably second best on ground. So there's a lot of decisions to make there, and each have their own story. I mean, Scott has been in the system for 7 years, hasn't played a lot of footy and starting to get a great run with his body and deserves the game. And Joe is in outstanding form for a young kid and deserves the game too. So there's two very good reasons to play either player. But in saying that, we haven't ruled Hurls out definitely yet. We'll wait and see how it's come up. It's a lot better than it was last time, and we're very confident if he does miss, it'll only be one game.
Hurdy, is the questioning over? Do you now wait? You've said your piece and the boys have said their piece, and is that it for now? And you just wait now?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the process holds from here on in. I'm pretty sure every player is finished, and now, to tell you the truth, Dwayne, I don't know, but we just hope it happens sooner rather than later, and we get through the process, and our footy club can move on.
Hurdy, you said, I think it was after the Fremantle game, that you believed after the questioning that the club would emerge in a stronger position. Are you still of that view?
Look, I'd rather not comment, Jared, on the investigation. I'd love to be able to talk openly and freely about everything that's happened, and there'll be a time for that. And we can sort of tell you that there'll be a time when we can put the story on the table and talk about it as openly as everyone wants us to. But at the moment, I just don't think we're in a position to do that. I'd rather stick to footy, and we can talk about the rest when the time comes.
Okie doke. Well, let me ask you this. If Brent Stanton drops another chest mark, will you send him back to the reserves to learn how to take chest marks?
Well, he had an opportunity to take a few because he had 39 possessions.
He did.
I reckon he deserves a little bit of leeway when you drop a chest mark. You've had 39.
Three in one night, though. That's just pushing it.
Well, he would have had 43 then, which is
right.
An outstanding effort. So, look, Stamps is in really good form. Yeah, he did drop a couple of chest marks, but we'll work on that during the week.
Who's the assistant coach in charge of chest marking?
That's my role. I'm get his elbows together and hug it in.
You are under pressure. I've been reading that you're under pressure. It must be for the chest marks.
I'll get the long sleeve jumper on him, and he'll be able to hold on to them better.
What about your spare ruckman? Is he back from overseas yet, Hurdy?
He gets back tonight. David just gets back in the country. He might even be back now, but we'll see him at training tomorrow morning. And he's had a couple of weeks with his family, had a family commitment over there that we're quite happy for him to go to, and get him back in the country and see him playing some footy very shortly.
BT?
What's wrong with you, Jared?
You've got a very wicked smile on your face.
I did say the other night.
You want to apologise to him?
No, I don't want to. I did say the other night that we've since learnt that he was over there for his dad's birthday, which is fine because it must have been a very special occasion. But I initially thought he was over there for a wedding, which is what was discussed heavily in the media. Apparently, that's not the case, Hurdy, is it?
I actually think it's his mother-in-law's birthday, but there you go. We've all got three different stories. So
we need a press release.
All I know is he hasn't been in the country for a couple of weeks, and he's back tonight.
Yeah. Well, the press release that they initially sent out, did they initially send out a press release? If it just told us exactly what was going on, might have been easier. But Hurdy, great to have you on, and great to see you playing such good footy. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, guys.